Hey, remember the DC Nation stuff that appeared in between shows on Cartoon Network? Back when we were like pups? I guess. Why? Just thinking of it. Maybe we could talk about something from it. I can't really recall many of them, aside from Batman of Shanghai. I just remember that Vibe can really shake things up. Well, apparently one of them was much longer, and that was for Amethyst, Princess of Gemworld. She had her own little series back in the 80s, and has appeared in a bunch of the big DC events, apparently, like Crisis on Infinite Earths and Infinite Crisis. And if you know comics, then you'll know that these events were basically resets on the entire DC universe, so she has undergone some great changes. As for who she was in the beginning, she was the Princess of Gemworld, but had to flee from her home when the sinister villain Dark Opal attacks and kills her parents, and she eventually is raised by human parents until Dark Opal attacks again, leading to her finding out about her real heritage and saving Gemworld. Pretty stock backstory when seen from afar like this, and her original design is alright, though I'm not a fan of her aging into an adult when she's in Gemworld, but I presume that it might have been easier to draw or sell maybe. However, being placed in DC Nation means that many elements about her have changed in order to better sell her to a younger demographic. So let's see just how well they do in these 7 one-ish minute shorts. 1 minute? Are we even going to be able to get a good review out of it? Well, we can analyze every frame if we have to, but I'm sure we'll manage. Starting with this first short, we can see that they have decided to make Gemworld into a video game for Amethyst to isekai into. Speaking of Amethyst, they also have made her into a bit of a shut-in, emphasized by the shadows that pass her window in the background while she plays her video game. Also, her design is cute. But of course, this isekai wouldn't be complete without a Sailor Moon-esque transformation into a magical princess knight, and is forced onto a quest to find a missing gem, and a set of evil eyes appear in the well, finishing this little setup. In our next short, Amethyst is already doubting herself on this quest, but must see it through in order to return to Earth. However, she gets attacked by the villain, who is summoned to Spider. And since this is part 2, she defeats it with some creative thinking and treating the situation no differently from if it were her video game. Following this, she then proceeds to fight a lake creature as she acclimates to this new world while the talking forest hypes her up. After leaving the forest, she enters a cave and we get another pretty cool action sequence with a skeletal knight. Although she beats him, she does feel bad for him and he gives her some items, and references an iconic line from The Legend of Zelda to boot. However, Amethyst uncovers that he is actually Prince Topaz, the character who died in the beginning, but has lost a lot of confidence now that he's a living skeleton. So, she gives him a pep talk and sends him back out into the world. From the cave, we enter a volcano, as she is definitely in the endgame now. Also, that Pegasus that does nothing finally comes up as she realizes that he was staying back in order to help her boost her own confidence. She then defeats yet another enemy and claims the gem from him. However, Dark Opal descends and binds her Pegasus, which of course leads into a fight, and her realizing that charging into him probably isn't going to be a good idea, given that is exactly how she lost back at the start. But now that she is physically here, she can look at the finer details to locate a weak spot, that being his emblem. Oh, also that crystal gives her a special attack to one-shot said emblem and defeat him. Upon returning to the village of frogs, she also fixes Topaz's skeletal problem and makes him fleshy again. Hooray! Although she is told that her home is the castle off in the distance, Amethyst tells her quest giver that she wants to return to her actual home and tries to return the crystal, but she gets to keep it as it has been reunited with its rightful owner, and Amethyst is allowed to return home, keeping not just the gem, but getting a Pegasus plushie too. And instead of going back to her game, she heads outside with a smile on her face and ready to face the world, living the lesson that she passed on to Topaz. For about 7 to 9 minutes, it was nice. Simple plot in which Amy is isekai'd into her video game, not just to save their kingdom, but also to learn a life lesson, and secretly reveal that she might be of that world, given the gem she had to save stays with her, and her Pegasus follows her into the human world. I'd say they also adapted the basic premise well enough to make it easier for a viewer to engage with, and the new designs seem to carry the spirit of the old, while also being simple and nice so they can stand on their own. Or maybe I'm just easy to please. It's far from perfect, though. Part 2 shows that Amy can be creative in combat as she treats it as if it were a video game, But then the fight with Skeleton Topaz, the Lake Monster, and even the start of Dark Opal's fight are all normal fantasy fights, without her really getting to show off her wits like she did against the spider. The format also makes it a bit more difficult to have deep character moments, especially as they try to show her shaky confidence that evolves into enough confidence to go out and explore the scary world outside. Her Pegasus also does not get much time to do anything, and it being explained as,
So what, you just let me fight my own battles before so I could gain confidence?
doesn't feel that great of an explanation. Also, that method is incredibly dangerous because everything after the spider seemed like it could easily be a lethal threat. Dark Opal is fine though. Beyond the story though, the art and the animation is really nice. Makes me think of stuff like Netflix She-Ra, but good and cute, and probably helps that the one behind it has actually worked as a designer for things like Teen Titans, Batman Brave and the Bold, and even Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. The voice for Amethyst, Sophie Oda, has a nice voice and performance, and Eric Bauza as Dark Opal is equally nice despite the limited appearances. But now the fun part. Based solely off of these 7 parts, could this idea work as a proper show? I actually believe so. There is a lot of room to improve and expand, and the foundation is solid enough to work from. Amethyst should be using her knowledge of the game much more often to solve problems, and actually learn how to fight instead of just instantly mastering it, and maybe give a bit more for Dark Opal and Topaz to do. Alas, it seems we have come to an end. Scoring something like this isn't easy given just how different it is from everything else we look at, including those random O&As from a bit ago. So instead, we'll just recommend you give it a watch at least once. It's a microscopic amount of your day, and there's an easy-to-find playlist that has the shorts in order, so it won't be too out of the way. Hope you enjoyed still, and we'll see you all later. Bye-bye.